like this. So when we start, I look at the inside corners of the eye. I don't use the nose because everybody's nose is a little bit crooked. So I look to see where the inside corner goes. I just put a little line. Same thing on this side. I'm gonna look at the inside corner, put a little line. Now I want to find the middle point. That looks about right. Now I'm gonna take my calipers and measure. Dead on. Awesome. So now I want to find where the top of the arch is going to sit. So I'm looking for the height. And you said you wanted yours just a little bit thicker this time, just like the tiniest bit?
Yes.
Okay.
I like the pixel fade.
I do too. So make sure that your line is straight across as you can get it. I find that when I kind of wrap it around, it gets a little skewed.
Mm-hmm.
So if I kind of roll it along the top of the head, then I get a better look. And it looks like this side is still just a little bit higher. So I'm gonna take a little cotton round, I'm gonna put some green soap on it, and I got my little makeup brush. And I'm just gonna gently scoop that line down. A lot of this really is eyeballing and then double checking. That looks better. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now I'm gonna start on one eye. I'm gonna find where I want the top of the arch to sit, and then I'm gonna find where I want the tail to end. So to do that, there's a couple different ways. You'll look at the Cupid's bow and you'll kind of run a line up. Depending on what their face looks like, what their desired results are, you'll either use the outside of the iris as a marker or the outside of the pupil, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I won't touch this directly to their face, especially if they got lashes on. I'll just kind of eyeball it. Put a little mark. I'm gonna emphasize that with a little straight up and down line. Now when I'm trying to find where the tail should sit, I go from the Cupid's bow to the outside corner of the eye. I'm gonna put a line here. So now I need to make it match on both sides. So I'm gonna take my calipers, gonna make sure that the points are sitting exactly at those intersections. And then I take a little bit of charcoal from here, and I make a line. I'm gonna do the same thing. So over here, making sure I'm not accidentally adjusting it. Now, I want to find how thick everything's going to be. So I want to see, actually I'm going to drag this out a little bit because I want to fade this out really nicely. So I'm going to make these come in together just a little bit more. But it's going to be very subtle, very soft. And I'm going to use these front lines here. So, not to confuse myself, I'm going to get rid of these lines. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of follow the natural little lines that her brows make to find where the bottom is going to be and find where the top is going to be. And there's no hard and fast rules for this. It's all really going to depend on what the natural brow structure looks like, what the bone structure underneath looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've got this intersection here, and I've got this intersection here. And now I'm going to connect these. So now I got where the top of the brow is going to go. I've got this intersection. And I'm gonna follow where her brow naturally goes. I'm gonna follow this line all the way up. And now I've got where the tail goes. Now I wanna make this match the other side. So I'm gonna have to make a point connect here, point connect here, and point connect here. And I'm gonna be looking at the angles that this shape over here makes and this shape over here makes. I'm gonna connect here. I'm gonna connect my center dot there. And those angles are looking about the same. So that's where I'm gonna put that. Now I've got this intersection. This intersection, I'm gonna connect these two. Now I need to put in the bottom. So the bottom of her brow is sitting right here. I'm going to measure from the top to that little line there. Make it match on this side. I'm going to double check. So now I'm going to connect this point to there. Just nice and gentle. And I'm going to connect this point to here. So now I got that brow shape. I'll do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to double check all of my measurements. Making sure that the point of my calipers is sitting exactly on those little intersections. Looks good. That looks good. Tail on this side is just the teensiest bit longer, so I'm going to adjust that. Take that right off. Okay, it's looking good. So now, this is made out of wax. It lasts a little bit better than just the charcoal here. So now I lay my clients down and then I basically outline everything with this. So go ahead and lay them down. We're gonna finish mapping you down there. Okay. So when you're gonna go do brows, whatever side that you're handed, if you're right-handed, you sit on the right, you're left-handed, you sit on the left. And it has to do with how your hand kind of arches and moves. So I'm going to follow the lines that I've made, and I'm going to take off any sharp points, because obviously we don't want sharp, pointy brows. So I'm going to stretch this skin out, and I'm very gently just going to less draw and more stamp with this pencil. And I always like to adjust this underline a little bit so that it curves this way, because I feel like it looks a bit more natural that way. So then I clean it up by taking my little brush with my soap on it and just very gently straighten it up a little bit so that it looks nice. And then I'll take off this line, take off this one. I'm gonna turn her head a little I'm going to do the same thing with this line over here. Very gently trace that shape. Again, I'm going to go in with my brush. Just clean it up a little, make sure that that line is nice and curved gently. All right, now same thing on the top. I'm going to bring her head back over. Just going to gently stretch. Curve this line up ever so slightly, but it has a nice curve to it. And then I'm going to flatten out this hard peak that I have going on. And then follow this down. And then just make sure while you're doing this and making your adjustments that you don't move where your points are. That intersection right here for the highest point of the arch still sits right here, so make sure you don't accidentally shift it forward or backward. I did not even realize I was doing that in the beginning.
Yeah, there's so many things that you wouldn't think of that affect.
Mm-hmm. And now, even though I have this hard stop up here, I don't put in any hard stopping points. This is just where my fading of everything stops. So there's not going to be any harsh, hard lines anywhere, just a nice, delicate fading out in the front. Sometimes you get all these lines in the front, I'll use a little Q-tip. And I'm cleaning everything up so that when I show the client when I'm done, everything looks nice and neat and tidy. Because if you hand them a mirror and they're looking like a hot mess, they're
Like, what are you gonna do?
yeah, it definitely affects confidence. Okay. And so now, go ahead and tilt your head all the way over here. And again, because this is the way my wrist moves, this is why I'm always going to stick on this side.
Okay.
I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Just going to follow my lines. Curve this up just a little bit more. So because this extends into the tattoo here, I'm gonna adjust the tails because I don't want to go into the tattoo. But before I do anything crazy, I'm just gonna finish my lines here. Now, because I made those adjustments to the tail, on this side, I gotta do the same thing on the other side. And then I'll have to re-measure and make sure that everything is still looking good. I'll measure laying down and sitting up. All right, go ahead and sit on up. Now I'm gonna double check everything while she's sitting up. So again, because shifts in gravity, everything will look different laying down and sitting up. So always double check. Adjust this a little bit. It's all nice and clean. Good. And this line is just a little light. I'm not making any adjustments to it, just darkening it up just a little. And there we go. Now I got my basic shape. I'm gonna double check, just make sure everything is still looking good. Take your time. Really look at your client. I'm going to adjust this line here because I want it to curve just a tiny bit more. You see how it's got this nice gentle curve and then it kind of goes really straight? So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. It's a very subtle adjustment. But it made a pretty big difference. When you're first starting, it will feel a little awkward just to be up in your client's face like that. After a little bit though, you kind of settle into what you're doing and you're less focused on the fact that you were like up in your client's face and more focused on the brows that you're shaping.
Yeah. Sometimes your brows can be perfectly even, but if the pencil is darker on one side and lighter on the other, it can look a little different. There we go. Okay. Very nice.
Okay. When I'm getting client approval, I always tell them, it's like, okay, take your time, tell me what you think. Sometimes if it's just the lines like this, some clients will have difficulty kind of visualizing what it'll look like. If I have a client who